Right. Southeast Missouri State head coach Tom Matukewicz. Southeast will host Murray State. Coach, just some general thoughts about your team as we get ready to prepare for this spring season.
Well, we're at a point where we're just need to play. I think the fall game with SIU gave us some information that we needed. And then we spent that time trying to improve things and build things. And now we're at a point where let's go put a marker out there. Let's see, we feel good about our team. Let's see where we're actually at.
Okay. Tom, I'm sure you have some questions, so go ahead with Coach Tuke.
Yeah. How has the training been impacted over the last couple of weeks? Because not just with this snowstorm, but with the bitter cold temperatures. I mean, the weather has just been atrocious. What's the impact been?
Well, we haven't traditionally prepared like we normally would, but that's just the world we live in. We have used SportsFlex, that indoor soccer twice. The biggest concern you have is we have to be able to condition. So I could go in a gym and we can run a route or we can run like a run play or something. But the real problem is that our conditioning is affected. And so, we've been ahead because we had a fall game. So schematics and all these things and player development, two deeps, all the type of thing that we're trying to work through has been settled. So really my main concern is just the conditioning piece. I think the advantage, or I guess the point here is everybody's got to go through it. Like Murray's got the same problem. So that's the biggest thing. Gio wants me to have an unfair advantage, but they got the same problem we have. So, at the end of the day, I see it as a non-factor.
Okay. You sort of winged the Southern Illinois game. You only had 9 practices leading up to it. Do you feel a lot better prepared going into Sunday than you did Southern Illinois?
For sure. I mean, I feel really good about our skill building. Kids have developed skills and their fundamentals are pretty solid. I think we understand better who we are from an offense because we understand bunch better. And so we've been able to adjust our schemes accordingly. I think defensively, it's just a little easier because you don't have the timing piece an offense has to have. You got to work with each other in the passing game and all those things. So I think I see probably the biggest improvement with our offense.
Well, as far as timing and working together, that involves the offensive line a lot. How has your offensive line come together in the last couple of weeks, and what do you expect to see out of them, or do you not know what to expect to see out of them on Sunday?
Well, it's gone well. I think Coach O has done a tremendous job, and I think that group, that offensive line group, has really bonded and have taken it personal that they are a group that's going to kind of set our ceiling. It's kind of one of those things where as they go, we go. And that's every football team. But certainly for us, that's where we're at. We've struggled with recruiting and developing them as a top 25 level, not necessarily, our standards have changed. We want to win a national title. So those are the standards that we have for those guys. My expectations are pretty high. I feel like if they're not good enough, then I don't know if we'll ever be. I mean, I can't sit there and tell you that we're going to out-recruit that group. Like, that is a good group. We need to develop them. They haven't had the natural time that a normal football team has to practice and watch film, then practice again, then watch film, then practice again. The normal spring ball, summer, and fall camp. But I still feel really good about them, and I'm excited to watch them play. We ran the ball really well, and it wasn't just because we had good players. It was the offensive line was doing a really good job. I think our passing game is got to improve. We got to be balanced. We're going to run the football here, and we're going to be physical. That's like, that's how you get out of bed, put your shoes on. Like, that's first thing.
Right.
But we're not going to do anything magical if we can't throw the football.
Well, last year you had such a special group in that you were a fourth quarter team. A lot of your games came down to the fourth quarter, and it was a coin flip. It was a razor thin between you guys sharing a share of the conference championship or finishing middle of the pack. That was like an inch away. What were the traits that last year's team had to succeed in the fourth quarter that this team needs to develop?
Well, one is you got to be in the best shape, because that's where it magnifies. After you've already played 60 plays, let's find out where you're at. And obviously the game, if it's a tight game, the game's going to be won or lost in the fourth quarter, and the best conditioned teams are going to have the best chance. The other critical piece, it may sound fuzzy to some, but the culture really comes into play, because how do you handle the pressure and the good plays and the bad plays? If you have a really poor culture, some kind of adversity hits your sideline, man, it'll crush you. Or in that tough moment, like a come from behind 2-minute win to win the game, that's where that culture helps you galvanize your energy. It helps focus, and it's just special. It's hard to describe, but you can feel it. And so I think those are the two main things, and depth and all these other little things that come into it. But I think if you're going to win fourth quarter games, you're going to win tight games, those things have to be done well. Last year's team did those, but we have a new team. A lot of those great players, great leaders are no longer here, but we have been working on it. From a conditioning standpoint, I'm concerned because we don't have a football field to run on. But we've been doing everything we can. Coach Nappa's done a good job in the weight room. We found other ways to get in shape. And then I think our connection piece is where it should be. Like right now, it's pretty good. Like our team cares about each other. They're spending time with each other. I see little huddles and the interactions and talking points that players are doing that they don't normally hang out with each other, but they're still spending time with each other. And I think that's a great indication of where we are right now. You don't know though until something bad happens. Like when you hit adversity versus.
I broke up there.
Murray, we will, or in culture, then we'll crush it in adversity. So, can you hear me all right?
You're back, Coach. Yeah, it froze for a second. Go ahead.
Let me. This will be any better.
You're good.
You're good. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay. Did you get me?
Well, I did want to ask you about Murray and what your expectations are for Murray, or is it kind of an unknown?
Me there, Tom, or do I need to reset?
Yeah.
So Simo and Murray historically has been a fourth quarter game, overtime game, 1 point, 2 points either way. So it is a rivalry game. And so anytime it's like that, you throw the spread out the window, and it's just who's going to make plays at the end. It's a first year staff, but look at the history again, like Dean Hood 7-1 versus the Red Hawks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like 0 for 7,500 versus him. So,
yeah.
At the end of the day, this would be a huge accomplishment if we can beat them, because of how much respect we have for him and his program. So we better understand that. I've talked about how well we play at home. We have a home winning streak I think it's at 12 or something like that. That's a big deal. And so this is it's a huge, great game, and there's only 7, so they're all big, of course.
Right.
But this is an exciting season opener for us.
Okay. Well, I'll jump off here and let somebody else get on if there is anybody else, or Kyle, and I'm good to go. Thanks. Appreciate your time.
That's it, Coach. We appreciate you joining us this morning, and best of luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Tom. Hope that was helpful.